Here's a recent clip of the beautiful, brave heroes, the real heroes, professors from Roosevelt University, talking about exactly what it is that they're teaching your kids when they have them completely unfettered and you have no access or the ability to mold young minds. This is what they do.
I'm so glad you're there, too. You fit in so well with their, the university's philosophy and mission, right?
It's all social justice all day, every day. I get to talk about all the things I love.
Yeah, I always flip out the kids that take my master's class on fiscal policy and public budgets when the first 3 or 4 classes are devoted to philosophy of social justice and how you organize society. We don't talk about one, budgetary item. They're like, oh, man, Professor Martiri, this is a really weird way to teach a budget.
Yeah. It's a really weird way to teach a budget by not teaching a budget.
Yeah. Just take other people's money. That's your budget.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of where it only works in academia. And this is why I don't think, and you know what, it bothers me. You see a lot of conservatives say, oh, academia, it's an indoctrination factory, but their kids they pull the strings to get them into Harvard, to get them into Brown.
Exactly.
Yeah. Listen, my twins, I am going to be openly advocating against them going to an expensive university. In-state school, community college, trade school, and I want to teach them fiscal responsibility and the skill set as to how you most effectively learn. It's not in college. They just said people come to us, our job is to teach them a budget, and instead I teach them a bunch of other stuff. Only in academia and a trade school, it's like, okay, I'm going to become a plumber. Right. But instead, I want to talk about the lack of plumbers of color. Well, you know what? Listen, Mario, at one point they were an oppressed people.
It's Olive.
Nowhere else. You know why? Because you don't run a business. Because in academia, there are no consequences. You can you basically have a forced audience. Anyone here, by the way, when I went to college, anyone experience this when you go to college, you have to buy $200-$300 textbooks that your professor wrote and nobody else would ever read?
Yeah, well, they just gave them to us in the football program. Sorry.
Oh, well, good for you.
And then they changed one thing, and you had to buy the abridged version.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
by the new one.
But don't worry, it was an annuity for these guys.
Yeah, you can sell it back for $10.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
There's that.
It's just an absolute racket. It's always social justice. Oh, I thought you were teaching economics. Well, I don't know anything about it. That's why I'm a professor.
I think that's the best thing that we could do is open up teaching to the free market. Like you have to be good enough to justify your pay, and they would freak out.
Well, they do. That's why they want to do away with standardized testing.
Yeah.
Wait. You mean have some kind of accountability? You're supposed to teach a budget, economics. At the end of the year, we're going to have standardized testing to see if your kids know how to balance a budget. Your kids just wrote Malcolm X 15 times in the queue. And by the way, that was a Scantron. They actually statistically less than random because they didn't even pick the multiple choice. They wrote Malcolm X, Red Fox, and F you. And here, I don't even know.
Yeah, jeez.
And it wasn't even a number 2 pencil.
It was creative, though. Yes. They said those tests are racist, though. They literally say they're racist or there's socioeconomic biases in those tests, so we can't use those tests.
Here's what I want. And you guys, you know what? Comment. The best thing you can do is comment below. It's the best thing that helps the algorithm. And I want to know if you experienced that in college. For me, I was going, wait, I have to buy a $300 textbook? Yeah. What is really important is the left wants you to think, especially when they do these polls and they do them every election cycle and they talk about, the educated elite. If you listen to Aaron Sorkin, they want education, meaning higher education, university, to be inextricably tied with being knowledgeable, with being intelligent, with being, I would even say educated. The current educational system, that one you just saw there, does not educate young Americans. And so I think for people who say, well, I'm not left or right, I see everything on an individual basis, that's great. I don't believe in that necessarily when you're looking through the prism of politics. I think you need some kind of an ideology, at least so you have a framework. But when it comes to judging people as to whether they are educated, intelligent or not, how about we do this? How about we take everyone on an individual basis and don't judge them based on a piece of paper, which is really just congratulations, your parents' check cashed.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.